So I spoke in a previous video about how everything is about you and how you respond to life, and that whatever triggers come up or disturbances, it's because there's something that's not okay within you. If you were okay, truly okay with the situation, it wouldn't trigger you. Today I want to talk about how the people in our lives hurt us and how exactly what applies to you as an individual applies to them as well. That often we forget that we respond from a place. In fact, not even forget. Sometimes we don't even realize, most times we don't even realize that we're responding from a place of pain. We just react. And in doing so, hurt the people around us without even understanding why we responded the way that we did. And most times we never even begin to understand why we respond the way that we do to life. And in eventually unpacking that for myself, it makes me a lot more tolerant and gentle with the people around me. I'm a lot quicker, or I come to the understanding a lot faster that this is not because they are inherently bad people or inherently, maybe they have ill intent or whatever it is. This is because they are hurting the same way I was hurting when I was responding to life, reacting to situations that I was being confronted with. And that's where the whole ego and mind come in. So basically, this is from psychology. This is not a spiritual thing. Of course, in spirituality, it's drawn in because it makes a whole lot of sense. You've got to understand yourself in order to separate yourself, to some degree at least. Or at least when you begin separating yourself, you begin understanding yourself. So basically what your ego is an accumulation of all the events that have happened in your life, and now you have learned how to respond to life, you have learned how to respond to family, to society, to work environments, to everything that you know is what your ego has accumulated over the years. So whatever negative things that we've learned as well are included in there. And however we learn to respond to life is included in there. So if we come from unstable homes or abusive families, we've now learned to protect ourselves according to whatever circumstances we were raised in. And in understanding this about ourselves, it should naturally apply to everybody else who's in our lives. Yet we tend to kind of victimize ourselves when we're in relationships with people who hurt us, forgetting that it's really actually not about us. It's about what's going on with them. It's about maybe even, if possible, creating some kind of safe space and loving them even harder, because that's what they need. That's what I needed. When I was struggling, oh boy, I hurt a lot of people. And all unintentionally, of course I didn't have ill intent. It was just me coming from a place of pain, trying to protect myself. And so basically all of that spilling over into whoever was nearby. And in the last couple months before my transition, I call it a transition because it feels like, one of my friends explained it as the death of an ego. And, for a while, yes, it felt like that. Now I'm moving more toward embracing my ego, but I feel like I needed that to happen in order to appreciate everything else that comes along with it, so that I am clear about or I can clearly distinguish between what is real and what is not, to some degree. Anyway, understanding this about ourselves will help us understand this about the people in our lives, that it's not about you. Their pain is spilling over and affecting you. Their pain is spilling over and affecting somebody else. If possible, love them harder. Be patient. Accept them for every bit of pain that they have going on. And just speaking from my own experience, don't try to change anything. I mean, I know it was so difficult for my friends and family to see me struggling the way that I was struggling. But the last thing I wanted was a positive word. And the last thing I wanted was somebody trying to make me better, trying to make me different, trying to make me something that I wasn't in that moment and I didn't want to be. And so that's the way that I feel, or the way that I am starting to try to change my relationships, or not change my relationships, but more kind of accept my relationships, accept the people in my life exactly the way they are. If they see something in my growth that inspires them to heal themselves, then wonderful. I will just continue on with my process. If nothing resonates with them, then that's wonderful too. I love you anyway. And I was lucky enough to have two people when everybody else kind of disappeared during that struggle. Also, I realized that I needed that. I was very dependent on the people around me and the people in my life, and I needed everybody to disappear. I needed to feel abandoned so that I could learn to trust myself. I could learn to depend on myself. I could learn that everything that I need, I already have. I don't need anything from outside. I don't need anything from anybody else. And I wouldn't have known that if events hadn't transpired the way that they did. You know, sometimes it takes 5 years to reflect on these things. And sometimes, in my case, probably took after my transition started happening, probably about 2 months or so. Then I started to recognize and appreciate maybe even less than that, because this transition happened so quickly. Yes, there's been a lot of new information, a lot of growth that's come about since my depression, but it took a very short time after or from the point of me learning that I could separate myself from my ego to understanding why everything that happened was necessary to happen. Anyway, I guess, just to kind of sum up, the people in our lives are exactly the same way that we are. We're all trying to protect ourselves from some kind of pain. And if there isn't that consciousness in understanding that that's what they're doing, then you got to be understanding. I was 30 when that came, For some people it never comes. For some it comes very much earlier in life. But it could never have come for me. And so, because it has come for me, I have to recognize that this could have been my circumstances for the rest of my life, and that I need to be patient and appreciate and love the people in my life, because they did that when I was very difficult to be around. Yeah, I was talking about two people in particular that really stood by me in the depth of my dark ugliness. I shouldn't even call it ugly, because when things started to change, I started to really see the beauty in that struggle, the beauty in that pain. And of course it's hard to see it when you're in it, but when you come out of it and you start to kind of see the lessons that you've learned and reflect on the kind of person that you were before and the person that you are now, man, I wouldn't want to go back. I wouldn't change a thing about my life. I wouldn't change a thing about the way things have happened in my life. And I firmly believe that everything happens exactly as it needs to happen. So the next time you are in a confrontation or feeling pain because somebody that you love or somebody in your life is spilling over, just maybe remember that when you're in a place of pain, you spill over onto those that are around you as well. And I guess in a later video I will talk a little bit more about what that depression looked like for me. And but I think for today this is basically what was on my mind. So thanks again for listening. Hope you're having a wonderful day, and see you in the next one.